Good evening. A trifecta on the SpaceX IPO, including a guy who thinks it's all just one big grift. That'll be interesting. NASA has big plans for the moon. We're going to take a look at those. A company named Orbital, has been several of those, and that is another one. They just raised $5 million to join the orbital data center race. Here we go. Jared Isaacman, poor guy, responds to criticism of an all-male Artemis 3 crew. Will the world survive? I have a comment, as you might imagine. NASA is looking for options to fly the Blue Moon lander. Geez, you think? That has been a big topic this last week. Axiom, believe it or not, is oversubscribed on their outing as at $525 million. A UK startup named New Orbit raised an $18.5 million Series A. The devil may wear Prada, but still the lunar astronauts. We have more news on that. A company called ISAR raises 270 million euros for global launch expansion. And someone at the Space Review claims why the vagueness, quote unquote, of the Outer Space Treaty was a strategically calculated move. All of this and the ISDC wrap up from the news desk at the Center of Space Commerce and Finance. My name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. And as you know, of course, this program is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. What do? We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. Now, a lot of our work, especially this podcast, is supported by our listeners and fans like you. So if you just go to cscf.space/support, click that plain as day donate button. A little on the tip jar each month makes a big difference. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends. Speaking of friends, my oldest space friend, Michael Lane, who just finished polishing his halo after ISDC, is here with me. Michael, come on in, man.
Hey, how's things?
On the road again.
Yeah, how's it going out there?
Oh, it's going. No, it's going great. I haven't seen my buddy in this house since he built it. So yeah. That was almost in the middle of winter, like years ago, and so it's completely different now. And
you really are on the road, right? You left last week.
I left on Monday.
We did the DC thing and then moved on to your friend. So
yep.
Yeah.
So
you're in Ohio now, yeah.
Yeah, Lancaster, Ohio. It's about 30 miles south of Columbus. At nice little bedroom community, lovely folks. Interesting things that got here. So it's been a lot of fun just to be able to decompress and relax a little bit and figure out next moves and things are already shifting and moving in a lot of different ways. So we'll have some things once they actually gel a little bit. We'll have more things to announce for future events coming soon. Yeah, there's always things going on. Sometimes they get in your way, and now we're working on, how do we work around this? Once we got that done, then we're going to announce some major things going on. Also involves Turkey, and it involves maybe Texas too. So this is interesting week so far, and we're not done yet. How you been, man? How you rested up?
You know what? I just woke up from a 2-hour nap because I'm jet lagged. It was such a great trip, but it definitely took a toll on me. I've been home for 2 days and I was wiped out. I'm like, I cannot do the show under these conditions. I need to take a nap. It's good. It's good. The ISDC was great. We'll talk about that. There's still like rolling to-dos, right? The to-do list just got a mile longer than it was.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I had to like start reworking everything. That's why I
Yeah.
spent the time here, because this
Yeah.
is a great place to just chill and just,
Yeah.
you know, my buddy's got an RV. I've been helping him a little bit, kind of refurb it. And so there's, not that I'm going to have a chance to go camping or anything, but there's
Right.
that's fun too.
Yeah.
I don't know who we're gonna see tonight. It's because we saw a lot of our people showed up to ISDC. Doug Plata was there, and Morty was there, Morty Friedman, and Joe Luttrell, and people like that. They're all there.
Wes was out there. Aiden, it was great to kind of see him for the second time. This is only the second time I've met him in person, but yeah, it really was just kind of like, you and I know this, but I want to make sure everybody else knows. They call the ISDC the family reunion of space, and I kind of love it for that reason. Like, some people go there and they're expecting a Joe Prosciutto is like waiting for that first SpaceX trade. We did talk. Joe, you got to know that the SpaceX trade was every conversation, all just. There were two things people were talking about, and Tom did that up on stage that first night, or that first morning, Friday morning. There's two things people are talking about: the Blue Origin fueling accident, and what that means, and SpaceX. So everybody's those are the main topics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we did. That was great fun. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later. We have a few news items. We can kind of breeze through them, since we are our own guests this evening. So we can spend as much time as we want talking about anything. We'll get to it. We got a few news items. I had to cut a whole bunch because there's so much stuff going on. But there was a trifecta. There were three things going on with this SpaceX IPO. Because one of them you sent me, he had is from Axios. Did a bull bear analysis. On Elon Musk, and we should probably just a lot of this stuff we're not going to talk about in detail, but we're going to post all the links for you guys. So down the road, everybody will have them. But that means the bull and bear cases. The bull case, it could generate hundreds of billions in revenue by 2030, despite booking less than 19 billion last year, which is a little odd. But the biggest chunk could be from Starlink. As we said, between that and the AI business, a lot of I think SpaceX is becoming less a launch company and more of a data company.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
So I think that's how that's going to grow. And the ceiling for that business is that, actually Grok really works as a viable alternative to Claude, ChatGPT, or Gemini and their various offshoots. And then the sky's the limit. They'll, of course, continue the flagship launch business, and including some lumpiness tied to NASA's lunar missions. We could be generating revenue from orbital data centers. And the bull case is if SpaceX hits around 200 billion in revenue with continued growth, a 1.75 trillion valuation might look like a bargain.
So let's just talk about this for a second, because this is Axios's bull case. Like, everything goes good,
right?
But they only talk about the $19 billion booked last year. In the last month, SpaceX has added two different contracts, one for $30 billion. And the other one for $15 billion. So they've all
paying almost what wasn't it? It was Alphabet paying like $900 million a month. For those services.
That's Alphabet contract goes out several years. It's a $30 billion contract. 900 million a month and 1.25 billion a month for Anthropic. So definitely they're a data company. They're not a space launch company anymore. So they've moved off of that. So we don't even need to cover them anymore. End of topic. We don't need to cover SpaceX anymore.
Yeah, like that's ever going to happen. Yeah, we're
No,
going to shut that down.
no. But wait a second. Like, go back to Axios for a second, right? They're saying, if it hits 200 billion in revenue, it's going to look like it's going to make this valuation look like a bargain. Well, they're already on track for 60 billion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we know so far this year. They're on track for 60 billion this year. And those are the things that we know about, right? So, I am really wondering if, I was definitely skeptical of that, 90x, 94 times earnings valuation. But at 30x earnings valuation, I don't know. It's high, but it's not insane.
Yeah.
Both Morningstar and another analysis group came in and said it's $1 trillion overvalued or $500 billion overvalued, depending on who you ask.
Yeah.
But again, these new contracts change those numbers. So that's the bull case. Let's jump to the bear case here.
Okay, before you do that, Joe Bistritto had a comment. He says, so the story of next year is how many data centers don't get built and how much money SpaceX makes selling capacity to all the AI players.
Yep. Very, very, very wise counsel there, sir. Very wise. Yeah. Not related to what we normally talk about, but there was a big op-ed in the Seattle Times basically complaining that the Seattle City Council is spending too much time paying attention to AI centers for the region's growth and not enough attention to the strip of prostitutes up on Aurora that are getting shot at all the time. Like there's a gun battle there about once a week. And but the city council's paying attention to the AI question.
Yeah.
So that's going to be and then I'm just saying that because every neighborhood in the country is dealing with what do we do with AI centers.
And I have read articles on that. I read somewhere. I wish I kept that thing where they said there's a whole lot of projects that just been put on hold or canceled because of resource allocation and public pushback. So the plans of building 200 more data centers next year may be cut back to 60. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
not going to grow as fast as people think it's going to grow.
I heard of another data center program just a couple hours ago. This morning.
Yep.
I mean, it's pretty intriguing, but that it's a problem. And as Sean, our producer, was talking about several times now, as we add in agents and agents become a more normalized part of the program, because agents are not really factored into the system yet. But
right.
If I do a prompt, blah, 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 hit return, that burns, I'm going to make up numbers for simplicity, that burns 10 tokens. But if you've got an agent that's working a problem for you, that could be 100 or 1,000 tokens. And you're not even standing there monitoring it. It's on automatic pilot. And so agents jump up that demand curve like crazy. So
yeah. And Joe mentions again, this is the county that he lives next to in Maryland just became the first county in Maryland to ban data centers. I hate to break it to him, but Maryland isn't built that way. You have a watershed from the Chesapeake, and you have a grid that comes in from all over the place. That county just can't say, "Oh, we're just going to carve out that part of the watershed and the grid for ourselves, and and we'll be safe from those evil data centers that suck up all the resources." Sorry, I mean.
I think Sean is like, yeah, they're going to go to the oceans, converting old oil rigs and refit them into data centers. Definitely possible.
Yep.
But they're also going to the sky. How many times have we talked about Star Cloud and Lone Star and now Orbital? We've got jumping ahead. There's a brand new entrance in the
true.
system. Yeah, it's going to the sky. The industrial center of the Earth. The whole industrial center is going to the sky. So this is just the start of it.
And Morty's back. It was great seeing him again, and got to meet with him again at at ISDC. We're going to be talking about that later. Do you want to go into the bear case real quickly? Because I got three articles on this topic alone.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Bear case. SpaceX has spent most of its life operating as the market leader in a category of its own making. And so the future plans are much more crowded, and the starting price is not cheap. Starship itself remains a work in progress. It's not as sure a bet as a lot of the SpaceX mafia bros believe at this point. I think it's going to succeed, but we'll see how long it takes them. And they got viable rivals like Amazon, which is buying Globalstar. Compute has become a commodity, of course, as it always been for a long time, and it's benefiting from the bottleneck. But given the massive number of build-outs and expected increases in inference efficiency, if Grok does work, it's possible that rivals like Anthropic and Google will find ways to cut off their compute cash cow. But they're also they're buying from him right now. So. The wild card in all of it is Elon Musk. He has his own market magic, and so as they say, bet against him at your portfolio's peril.
Right. Yeah, I mean that is the wild card. We heard a lot of comments at ISDC about not trusting the man, and then in the same sentence they'd come back with, but it's an incredible company. And credit to the folks that work there.
Sure. Right? Absolutely. 26,000 people. Yes.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay. But the next thing up is this caster on Here's a guy. He's basically, his name is Will Lockett. He's basically claiming that the entire SpaceX IPO is a total grift, and it's all a giant pump and dump scheme.
Yeah.
And so you can go into long detail on this. I wasn't going to. I read this thing. And so he goes into detail on what the pump is and what the dump is. We should put this link on here for everybody because there's a lot to go through. We could do half a show just on this.
Yeah.
It's going off in a direction that no one else is. This is why I wanted to bring it up and put it there to say, hey, you know what? Everybody has an opinion. Let's see what I'd be curious to see other people in our group that read this and have their own comments on it, and we can talk about them on a future show.
Well, one thing that I disagree with an awful lot of this. The guy has obviously got a bias, and he definitely is trying to push a particular agenda.
Yep.
This is not news. This is someone's opinion. I do. The point about forcing the indexes to buy this stock. I mean, that's real. That was incredibly strategic and tactical. It was one of the smartest things I saw happen. That combined with the recent share price 5-for-1 stock split, those two things taken side by side was genius. It was a genius financial decision.
Yep.
But it really does. It makes every person in America with a 401k, every person in the world that has access to those index funds and that has a responsibility to manage them, it makes everybody a partner to this thing, right? Whether you like SpaceX or don't like SpaceX, whether you like the man or don't like the man, you are now a part of this thing. And
Oh yeah, I'll end up with a few shares. I have a small IRA.
right, yeah,
right now, and
yeah,
actually, it's one of our buddies, Steve Jorgensen, is managing it.
yeah.
And so I imagine I will end up with a few SpaceX shares as part of that portfolio. So
Yeah, they already have. Starbridge has had. Starbridge is one. That's one of the first acquisitions they got was early SpaceX stock. It was
Yep.
7 years ago that they got it. So
right,
yeah. Dallas is right though, and this guy calls it out. You know what happened at the Meta IPO is it immediately tanked, and then time happened and it went back up. So a lot of people are talking about catching it, doing a short squeeze on it, and making the profits of the tank. I would not bet on this thing tanking on day number one. Not yet.
right.
Yeah. As Dallas is saying, it's oversubscribed by a lot. I don't think anybody, to my knowledge, nobody knows how much oversubscribed it is right now. So I'm saying 50%. I hadn't seen that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. NBC was interviewing a guy this morning who's got an order for $1 billion. He's one guy. I want $1 billion on that stock right now.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. And here's a hard news item that's part of this trifecta today, and a couple of people sent this to me, and it looks like we finally got a hard number. The SpaceX IPO is likely to make 4,400 employees millionaires.
Yep.
And someone sent me this article, and she said, "You need to get all their names."
Right.
And get donations for the center.
Right.
Yeah, we'd be set if we could do that. So
yeah,
that's only a partial joke at this point.
Right. 400 people are likely to come in at more than 100 million, and 4,000 more people are going to be millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
That's only out of a pool of 50,000 people all total. 50,000 people all total, and 4,400 of them are millionaires. So good for them. Good for them. And there's some really cool articles. The one that Sean's about to post that we had up on screen, talks about a college student that graduated back in 2011. His parents wanted to go to General Electric, was a more stable job. He did his internship, and he was there with the company for 12 years. And he's looking at a $13 million payday from 2011 for 12 years, 13 million. And he was only an average worker, right? A launch engineer. So
I think his folks are trying to tell him, you need to sell those shares. You need to have a life. You need to do this. So, I'm hanging on to him, Mom. I'm hanging on to him. And he did. And now look.
Yeah. So I love that. I do. Good for him. Good for that kid.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Another quick one. It's mostly a lot of imagery. It was off their AOL site. NASA does have plans for the lunar base. I just wanted to get the big picture. There's 3 phases and 3 or 4 missions to get it all started. And they got it broken down into like now through 2029, they do certain things. And in 2029 to 2032, they do other things. And 2032 and beyond, well, who knows? You're saying, well, we'll have a permanent presence then. So that's a big vision. It's going to cost a lot of money. We'll see what kind of budget they end up getting for all this. But they're going to launch supposedly 4 or 5 missions right away. They want to in phase 1. Yeah. And then but it could be they'll have initial operating capability in the 2029 to 2032 period. To host astronauts on the lunar surface for short periods. Semi-permanent habitations, nuclear and solar power supplies established, pressurized rovers deployed, and they will set up a surface communication system similar to a cell phone tower network. And so after 2032, there is a semi-permanent presence on the moon in phase 3. Astronauts arrive on a regular schedule and work on the surface, maybe for months at a time, similar to how the ISS is crewed currently.
Yeah.
Now, unlike the space station, which floats alone in a vacuum, the moon base will have access to in situ resources on the moon. And so they're planning on, seeing those resources exploited to build infrastructure, housing, solar panels, factories, and they start mining the moon.
Yep.
So starting 2032 is basically what you will expect to see.
And I wonder who is going to already be there by the time NASA gets there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, we know who it might be, yes.
Well, no, I'm not just thinking China. I think that's what you're thinking, but I mean, definitely that's part of the answer. But, we talked to folks this weekend at ISDC. They're like, nope, that timeline is too slow. We are already going to have, something happening in that 2032 timeframe.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it was interesting. The ISDC's plans layered over on top of NASA's plans.
And we've been talking about this before. I mean, Musk has shifted to building a space city on the moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so whether he does it in conjunction with NASA or he does it on his own,
yep.
Depending on how the IPO goes, he's probably going to start doing that pretty soon.
Right.
But again, Starship is going to be a big factor in that. So we're looking to see one of those in orbit as soon as we can see one in orbit. That's really needs to happen next.
Yeah.
So.
All right, moving on.
Another company is now taking on the name Orbital. I guess when you give up a name, someone else picks it up. So, there was Orbital Sciences for a while, then it became Orbital ATK. Right. Then they were absorbed by Northrop Grumman. Yeah. And so I guess that name was up for grabs again.
Well,
and here it is. Orbital.
We don't know jack about these folks, but it's a great name, so good on them.
Yep.
This picture, I totally imagine, a T-1000 just walking down, lovingly caressing mother, and and moving on. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. All right, Isaacman. Let's talk about Isaacman.
Okay, let's. Yeah, poor guy. I mean, okay. So they announced the Artemis 3 crew. It's an all-male crew, and everybody seemed to go nuts. I just don't get. This is the part I don't get. I mean, we have lots of men in space. We have lots of women in space. They're all especially in the astronaut corps. They're all qualified people, and so these guys obviously were chosen for a specific skill set. I don't know what the deal is. But someone just can't get past it for some reason. I basically said, hey, I was kind of flippant about it. I kind of said on one of the posts this morning, it was like, look, they're not going to the moon. They don't want to go. And so that created a whole sorts of more roaring and screaming. But the one comment I want to make on this, honestly, I mean, Isaacman has something to say, but I also have something to say too. It's like, if they announced an all-women crew, not a single man would complain about it.
Right.
Prove me wrong. Because we all get it. We're all equal. We could all do great things together, and it's what it is. And if an all-woman crew went to the moon, great, good for them. We'd be cheering them on the whole time. You're going to the moon, for God's sake. So okay, we need both. We need men and women on the moon. The moon needs women and men. Mars needs women and men, because we're going to extend our civilization to other planets.
Yep. I do feel bad that Isaacman had to defend that. Like, can't you just be happy for these folks, because it's pretty awesome.
Because over my whole lifetime, tens of thousands have been called, and only a handful have been chosen.
Right.
Regardless of where you come from.
Right. One of them's coming in from Isa, Luca. So that's part of our long-standing relationship. But folks are not really keying in on the fact that we had a Canadian up on the last mission, and now we've got Isa. I want to remind folks that are throwing shade that we didn't always have friends go on big missions like this. This was, America first, America only, up until this program.
Right.
So Artemis is an acknowledgement that what we're doing is hard. We need to go up there with our friends and allies, and this community of going to the moon is a global effort. And we did not take other people with us, and China is not taking other people with them either. Right.
Exactly right. We're the only ones that do it, and then someone will dare complain that we're doing it wrong.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I don't get.
Thanks, Isa. Thanks, Canada, and we'll have other folks coming along with us too. Yeah.
Including you and me sometime.
Eventually, you and I.
That's right. We're gonna do it. Okay. Moving on then. What's up?
I don't know what this means. Dallas.
What?
But he's like, NASA didn't do it. I think they should do based on my agenda. Well, dang it. That's too bad.
Yep. I'm so sorry for you. I'm crying big crocodile tears. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now here's the most story of the day. NASA wants options to fly Blue Origin lander.
Duh. That's the whole comment. Like, duh.
I
do want to say something though about this, right?
Absolutely.
Because this was, I was surprised at ISDC. This was the only comment from the main stage, and I'm not saying this to pat myself on the back, but this was the only comment on the main stage that got an applause. Was standardization, commoditization, being able to swap cargo, swap packages. Like, I was really surprised. A lot of people came up to me during those 4 days and talked to me about standardization and containerization, including the now retired chief scientist of ESA, Bernard Fong, Dr. Fong.
Yep.
So, yeah, NASA needs other options. Duh. Rant over.
But it's just the whole thing, because we've been talking about this since the explosion. We've asked that question, publicly. Okay, now what do we do? How do we get Blue Origin up there next year to rendezvous with Artemis 3 so they can actually do the experiments they need to do and do the testing they need to do? And now all of a sudden NASA wakes up and said, yeah, we need an alternative.
And you need standards. Right on.
Right. We are pretty much the standards champions.
Right. Yeah. So we're going to, if NASA doesn't create the standards, we are. And this goes back to what Dr. Levinson said on our show about the box and the standardization for your shipping containers. It was the Navy that saw a war coming that required the industry to come up with its own standards, or it would do it for them. The Navy would put the standard. So I think that's a situation we're in. The folks that are dedicated to going to the moon are going to create the standards. So
yeah,
good for us, right? Good for us.
yeah. But who's going to set them? I mean, I hope we all work together and set certain standards and develop them. We're dibs. We're going to do it. I know we're going to do it, because otherwise it'll be up to the U.S. Space Force.
Right. Nope.
Equivalent of the Navy.
Nope.
You know,
personally taking that as a dibs. I'm going to do that. Well, our team is going to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good. Well, there we go. Okay, Axiom is also oversubscribed and got new financing at 525 million plus. Reflected continued investor demand following February capital raise. So there you go. These were the guys a couple years ago.
This company might suck at building space stations and spacesuits, but it is really good at bringing in capital. Where are they going to produce something?
That's a good question. Well, but they say they're building the orbital infrastructure that will define the next era of the space economy. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Takumi Hashizume, Managing Director and Head of the Space Innovation Office at MUFG Bank Limited, who's obviously part of this fundraise. So they're all happy about this. Of course, this is an Axiom press release, so
right
there you go. I got a couple of things that are going to be interesting. There's a new startup in the UK called New Orbit, and they've also raised $18.5 million in a Series A round. Another company you never heard of, but it's developing satellites in sovereign capacity. Dare I say the words? Or a very low Earth orbit. I don't know what that means.
That's the new cool kids club is VLEO. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, it gets bad when Avialto finally puts something up there at 25 kilometers, and they can see the satellite whizzing by.
Right.
Up above it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of, it's Prada that's is teaming up with Axiom. I thought that's why you put those two.
I put it there simply because you always get that reference to that famous movie, The Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah.
Apparently, the all the lunar astronauts are going to wear it too.
Right.
They developed a new inner layer underwear underneath the Axiom extravehicular mobility suit, and it's sporty looking, I guess, and it's built to withstand all the extremes. And so it's going to be all the Axiom guys are going to be wearing that suit. But I think there are a lot of the lunar astronauts, a crew of 4 astronauts. They're going to hop on Orion sometime in future years. And so pretty much if it catches on, everybody's going to be wearing Prada underwear on the moon.
I dig it. Actually, I do. I mean, this looks like the spacesuit of our teenager days when we're like, what's it going to really look like? And I think Prada brought their A game. So
they did.
This is what Axiom is spending their $500 million on, is to make sure that the astronauts look sexy.
And of course, Sean is making these comments.
What is Sean?
The jockstrap is going to look funky.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh my God. But
okay, let's dig into a moment more on this Prada story, because this is in the Rob report, and actually I didn't notice that until just a moment ago, but I'll tell you, the Rob report does not usually cover space. So that they covered this at all is actually pretty cool, right?
Yep.
I think our whole industry should chip in and start putting articles into the Robb report, because that brings an entirely different level of notice into our community, right?
Mhm.
So a lot of people just read the Robb report for the status of it, because I think they're cool enough to, aspire to that level. But there are people who really read the Robb report for a reason, because they are at that level. So I think it's pretty cool that this article is there in front of those eyeballs.
It is.
All right.
So, a couple of things left. Interesting. One's just an article I want to leave with you, but this one is ISAR Aerospace raises 270 million euros for their global launch expansion. Another company I hadn't heard too much about in the past, but here we are. Everybody's cashing in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even sure what they do, what they launch, but
aren't these the folks that are flying out of Svalbard,
probably
the ultra north spaceport? I think these are the folks that had a little bit of a mishap a couple months ago. I'm not sure if I'm remembering that correctly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They got just off the pad, and then something bad happened.
That one.
The same one. If it's the same one,
it might be. And so they failed upwards, and they got money, and they're going to do it again. And so it may not be failing upwards, because they're just really trying hard, and they think they've got something going. And so good luck to them. And there's just a lot of space is hard. Things blow up.
Yep.
Finally, this final thing. I usually don't use an op-ed piece, but this one in particular, Dieter Raj wrote this for the Space Review, and it's titled "Why the Vagueness of the Outer Space Treaty Was a Strategically Calculated Move," and I wanted to pop that in the comments for other people to click on, because none of our legal eagles are here tonight, but I'm hoping later they'll see the show and they'll get that thing. I'd love to get their comment on this, because I think it's vaguely important.
Wes and I talked about it over the weekend, so hopefully I can paraphrase him correctly.
Okay.
But he did, like, what I think the term in Washington D.C. is constructive ambiguity.
Yeah.
Constructive ambiguity. That was the point of it, right? Because you had there were only two signatories that really mattered at the time.
Yep. Us and them.
Us and them, the Soviets and the Americans.
Yeah.
And so there was no way they were going to be able to put property rights in there, because you had two completely diametrically opposed positions there. And if they wanted the thing to exist at all, if they wanted the paperwork to actually get signable, they had to leave stuff out of it. And so that constructive ambiguity, a bunch of years later, was it 1967? So it's 58 years old. That ambiguity has actually stood as a hallmark for it, because
that is the point, kind of. Yeah,
it was the point. It's like, let's do something is better than nothing. What can we agree on, and leave the other items off? And fast forward to the Moon Treaty, that was kind of a botch, and the undersea seabed part of the Sea Treaty. Both of those included language about non-appropriations for corporations and individual persons, and those made it into those documents, but were not a part of the outer space treaties. So it definitely looks like it was intentional. Yeah.
It definitely it helped in making subsequent accords that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
The one I really interested in is there's that it's called the Rescue Agreement of 1968.
Yep.
And another one called the Convention on Registrations of Objects Launched into Outer Space.
Right.
It's now called the Registration Convention of 1974. The Moon Treaty we can skip. There's only 9 signatories and half of them won out. And of course, the ISS exists.
Yeah.
Because of these legal frameworks. And then we basically skip ahead to the Artemis Accords. And so, but they say at the end, it's essential to have some sort of rules and regulations that provide a platform for cooperation among nations in outer space rather than none at all.
Right.
That's the important part.
Yep. There's things we agree on, and the things we don't agree on, we'll figure out later. I had an interesting conversation about. Well, I've had a lot of interesting conversations about registering objects lately, and this stuff is gonna have to get duked out in the courtrooms somewhere.
Yeah,
somebody is gonna have to take this on, and as Wes says a lot, who is the competent authority? Who is the organization that can, officially bless a transaction? And so far, there isn't one. So far,
yeah. Right. So that's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to happen in a way that everybody likes it. What comes out of this?
Not everybody's going to like it.
Have to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to like it.
So diving fully now into ISDC in our final 15 minutes.
Okay.
We oh my God, we did so much because we did a 2-hour live show. It was absolutely amazing. Wonderful people came in. And a lot of people we never met before, and they all had something to say, and it was a whole lot of fun on a variety of ways and on a variety of topics. The big work happened on that Friday, however.
Yeah, that was the main thing.
We did a dream team panel talking about the future of space entrepreneurship and investment and agreements and how we're going to build the cislunar economy. And we had someone who had a lot to say about all of Africa. And so we had Africa covered, Australia was covered, North America was covered, and essentially Europe and the Middle East were covered. And we had 4 great panelists, and including you. And I got to be your humble moderator. And I think and Dan Faber was on there, Lisa Labonte was on there, and this guy I just called Jude because his name is is challenging to pronounce for me. I'll put it that way.
Jude, yep.
He's Judy. Yeah. That guy was absolutely amazing, and he actually made the case not only for African space commerce to be a player in commercial in orbit and in LEO and in maybe even cislunar economy. He said, after a couple of decades, it's going to be the dominant player,
right?
And he made the case for that.
He did, yeah. 54 nations. If 54 nations step up the way Europe's half that number has not stepped up, they do have a path. They do have a path to taking leadership. I have believed that for a long time. Like that was not new to me, but it definitely was new to a lot of people in the room. I liked his comments. I liked what Faber said. Faber was very low key, right? He's in this transition space right now. Like he's trying to figure out what's next. And, in a way he said a lot without saying very much. Right? He's in this spot where he's trying to figure out what is going to happen for him, for the industry, and being at this crossroads point. And I thought that was kind of interesting too. Yeah. It went by fast, right?
It did. We only had 75 minutes.
Right.
It started at 8:30 in the morning, and the room was half full.
Yeah, no, we started with 100 people the moment the mics went live. Because I'm a nerd, I counted it. and we had just over 100 people when we went live, and north of 200 by the time we closed out. So I was pretty happy about that, because that is kind of the point of those early morning sessions, is to get people started. So I thought we did well with that part.
And we have a great opportunity for next year, because I talked to the organizers.
Yep.
And they said they'd like to see something new next year. And I think I've got the perfect topic, which is, the IPO 1 year later. What new capacity has been built? How did it go? I mean, we don't know which way it's going to go, but all the things we've been punditing about for the last 6 months.
Right. We'll know.
We're going to know. We're going to know it all. And I'm going to find some of the best people to get on a panel to discuss that. I think it'd be another dream team, completely different people, all from the investor community, most of them, and maybe one guy from the public space. If I could get Jared on there, I'd do it.
That would be good. Yeah. I probably know 3 of those 400 people that are going to walk away with $100 million. I probably know 3 of them. That's not brag, but it's probably real.
Then from them, we'll get the names of all the other ones and their contact information.
Yep. So
I'm only half joking, but yes.
Yeah. So the panel, I thought the panel went really well. There weren't a lot of surprises to me. Were there any surprises for you, or things you weren't expecting?
Well, yeah, I went to, because it was the day, a couple of days later. I think it was on a Sunday. They did it was like a moon day kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
lower level. Yeah. And I was watching that. I finally, because I had 2 days of like heavy work, and then the next day I was taking a bunch of meetings.
Yep.
And then and seeing some things, and had a couple of nice dinners, and with people. But after that, I think it was that Sunday, I could just be a moon geek for the day and just sit in and look at that, what's going on, because everything was talking about that. And they let off after the lunch. They let off. There must have been 11 people on a panel for an hour.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm sorry, and I think a couple of your buddies were on there, but from what I saw, there were only 2 people in that entire panel sitting in opposite ends from each other that were actually saying things that made sense. Jim Caravella and Bruce Pittman.
Right. Yep.
So, that surprised me. I expected a lot more interesting input from some of those other panelists, but they were repeating old saws that we've been hearing for 30 years, most of them. Well, only those 2 guys said, no, that's going away. It's going to be a completely different game in town, and here's how it's going to go. And that was the other thing. It was the other thing that was kind of brilliant. It wasn't a total shock, but it was interesting, because Jim Caravella, him, he has a sack on him. And so what happened was, in the morning session after the plenary, Harrison Schmidt was on with some people for about a half hour or so. But after that, they only had 10 minutes for somebody, and they put Jim in there. How do you follow that?
How do you follow?
And what do you say
last
for
guy
10
on
minutes?
The moon? Right.
Yeah. How do you follow that? And he did it.
Yeah.
He's absolutely effing did it. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Caravalla rocked the room.
He did.
And it was kind of hazardous, like, how do you contain, we're going to build a 10,000 person city on the moon by 2040, if I got my timelines right. How do you contain that into 10 minutes, right? I really dig Caravalla, right? But he's got a bit of P.T. Barnum in him. And how do you do the show and really tell what's actually happening? But the room was jam-packed. I mean, it was standing room, more than standing room only. Some of that was spilled out into the hallway for the candid conversations with Schmidt, and then immediately followed by Caravalla. Like, that was probably the very best audience in the whole building for all 4 days, was that moment.
At that moment.
So,
I got to bring up something. I had a little moment of my own.
Yeah.
That there was this. It was Saturday night's dinner.
Yep.
I was in a quiet space with some folks, and I met a couple of people who are into making documentary films and stuff like that. I'm going to follow up with them,
Yeah.
and so I think we're going to do that. But there's this guy on the other side of the friend I was having dinner with, and he looked at me and he said, "Are you Thomas Andrew Olson?" Yes, I am. And he said, you probably don't remember me. I met you like 20 years ago. I was still an undergrad then. And we had a long talk about the future of space commercialization and entrepreneurship and everything. And that conversation changed my life. I tweaked my major. I studied something different in graduate school. And then I went out and became a serial entrepreneur. I've got this company now. We're doing all these amazing things. He was trying to describe me what his company was doing. I didn't understand a word of it.
Okay.
But, I was going to whisper something to my friend, but instead I just spoke to the whole table because they were all listening to this. I said, you know what? I am so humbled by this because you never know who you're going to meet, who you're going to talk to in life that would actually you make a big difference in their life. You never know who you're going to meet or what are you going to do for them. I changed someone's life history.
Yeah.
My God, that's going to go to my grave. It's just like, I was just blown away by that.
That's awesome. So, really, credit where it's due, right?
But I had to share that. I was like, my God, that's something I never expected. What's the biggest surprise of ISDC for me? That was it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a beautiful moment. Good for you. Good for that guy. I know you have his card and you're going to follow up.
We're going to follow up because maybe get him on the show sometime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying his name right now. I just want to, I want to work out some things, and then hopefully we'll have him as a guest on the show. He's doing some incredible stuff.
It's too important to skip over, and you can't share his name until you got permission. But that's it's really powerful. And you had no idea. Yeah.
No. Yeah. This guy's, are you who you are? I have something to say to you. It's like, you waited 20 years to tell me. Okay.
Right.
Thank you. My God. Oh my God.
That's sweet. I got corrected by Bienhoff. It's 1,000 people on the moon by 2040 and 10,000 by 2050. So, probably a good idea to get Caravala onto the show here, so we can tell that story. In the last we got 3 minutes here. For me, it was a very different kind of ISDC. I often go there as a fan. Like when I stopped doing Earth elevator work more than 15 years ago, the nature of ISDC changed for me, right? I wasn't going there as a showman, and I wasn't trying to follow me, let's go to the future. I wasn't doing that for a long time. And I felt a little bit in limbo when I went to ISDC. This one, because of the restart of Liveport, it felt like, oh, I'm here to work. I'm here to have conversations, to shake hands, to make a deal if I can. And so the tempo of ISDC brought me back to where I was 20 years ago when I was doing the work. And honestly, that felt really good because being an ISDC, being there as a fan with nothing necessarily to do is a great experience. It genuinely is.
Yeah.
But going there with an agenda to drive something, that felt very good to me, right?
Sure.
That was a nice change for me professionally and personally. So very different tempo for ISDC this time around.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's always a matter of I am in life and in space conferences. I am a participant, not a spectator.
Right. Yeah.
And it's always, I have a brand I'm trying to build, and I'm trying to in a couple of different areas, and that's I made some progress on all of that. And
Great.
So I didn't feel like I had to do every single day. Once I got done with certain things, by the end of Saturday night, Sunday, I could play Moon Geek all day. And so It was all mission accomplished for me at that point.
Awesome.
So I had a great time. And a lot of things are now shifting. A lot of avenues are shifting as a result of this. That's why I'm here in this place, so I can just kind of decompress a little and sort it all out, because when I get home, I know I'm going to be hitting the ground running on a whole bunch of initiatives, and we'll be speaking more on that as those things gel in the future.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's kind of where we are. It was a wonderful experience at ISDC. And it was great having you for a roommate for 5 nights. That was a lot of fun. We talked about all sorts of stuff.
Right.
It was great to have that. Yeah. We haven't done that in a long, long time.
No,
So
that was super fun.
I really was happy to do that. Yeah. And you're still my oldest, dearest space friend as a result of that. So, okay, here we are. We're at the end, folks. Thank you all for coming. This is a great night. On Monday, sadly, I won't be here because I'll be back on the road again, heading home. But we do have a guest. Our guest is Christian Thompson, who is one of the principals for the Las Vegas spaceport that is just breaking ground right now. And Michael and Sean will be with you, and maybe other folks, and to cover that and do it justice. I know on the way next couple of days, if I find any news items, if I think are of note, I will forward it to those guys, and they can put it in the script. We have templates for that now, so have fun. And thank you so much for coming, everyone, and for Michael Lane and Sean Key. I remain Thomas Andrew Olson, live from Lancaster, Ohio. Keep watching the skies.